What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart, where we get a little wacky and goofy, take a look at some games and movies, and today we're going to be talking about The Batman. Now, The Batman I went into kind of not expecting to like. Wasn't a huge fan of Ben Affleck's Batman. In his universe, he made a lot of sense. The character worked, which just wasn't, I don't know, not my Batman, I guess. Now, Robert Pattinson, on the other hand, he was a scary dude. I will say he's a menacing guy in that costume. You can really feel a weight, like with his depression, like when he's in his Batman suit and he's just standing there. He's so intimidating when he's just in a room. Like every step that he takes has just so much immense purpose to it, and you can feel it and hear it. I really loved it. Every character kind of had their moment, but he had so many good moments. And vengeance. Couldn't get over some of the lines. His delivery was so good. The timing perfect. Like all of the characters, I was very surprised that they all did a very good job. Like Zoe Kravitz, I actually, to be honest, I wasn't expecting to like, not her, but her version of Catwoman. I haven't really liked a lot of the adaptations of Catwoman over the years. Like I didn't really like Anne Hathaway. Halle Berry was a little weird for my liking as well. But Zoe Kravitz did an excellent job. The Riddler was kind of weird. I did not like him, but at first I didn't like the whole idea of it. Seems like that idea has been kind of run into the ground. He was so similar to a Joker, but then with his moves and tactics were just like Jigsaw, Saw with Batman almost, except the traps just involved like rats. There was one explosive trap. I'll give him that. But when he had the mask off, I thought that interpretation of the character, I was sitting there, I could feel kind of my heart going a little bit. This is kind of creepy. I would be definitely weirded out in this situation if I was face to face with this guy. That would not be a guy I would want to run into in an alley, that's for sure. Colin Farrell is nearly unrecognizable as the Penguin and fucking fantastic. My favorite character was Colin Farrell's the Penguin and John Turturro. I don't know if that's how you say it. Turturro? John Turturro as Carmine Falcon. I really liked his character. Ooh, was he just such a good bad villain, such a good mobster. Every scene he was in, you could really feel the tension between him and whatever character he was involved with. Like the whole city feared him. Every character truly feared him and knew his power. Kind of along with Colin Farrell, you could also feel that mob boss like feel. Andy Serkis as Alfred was also very good too. Again, this Alfred made a lot of sense to Robert Pattinson's Batman, where he seemed like he was more of a bodyguard and not so much of a butler. And he was extremely smart too. Like they kind of solved this one really important thing together, and it was funny to see them working together. Like at first he's kind of like, you gotta be careful, you're gonna get yourself killed, blah, blah, blah. And then he starts kind of decoding this thing with him. It was like, oh, so he is really smart. He knows. He's clearly taught Bruce a lot that he knows. And another show stealer, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. He did such a good job. Every scene he was in, he really commanded that scene. And in this one, he's not like Commissioner Gordon. He's just a detective at this point. So it was cool seeing him and Batman working together, and you clearly are seeing that they're building their trust when he becomes commissioner, and why like the Batman and Commissioner Gordon have such a good relationship is because of events like this. I thought it was really important that the 3-hour runtime does not feel like 3 hours at all. This movie's paced really well, and it's basically exciting throughout the whole thing, but there's something always going on. That's not like necessarily action wise, but there's a lot of detective work in this movie. They really put the detective back in DC in this Batman movie for sure. And those were, I think, the best parts about the movie, were when Batman and James Gordon were going back and forth on a scene, or going back and forth against in an interrogation or something. They really worked with each other well. It was dark. Everything was extremely dark in this movie. Not dark lit, like dark themed. It's very dark and gritty, and I thought that Batman being more of a detective in this movie than some like superhero justice serving ass kicker, he's just more of a brains detective, and like an actual detective. It's very clear that people know who we are, and they're scared of him. And he strategically picks and chooses the crimes he goes to. He can't be everywhere at once, which he clearly states in the movie, which I also really liked. Humanizing this Batman a lot, like putting him up in the DC universe, let's say, with like Aquaman and Superman, I think would be really weird at the point where he's at. But I thought it was nice that the whole cast, especially the Riddler, like they all really humanized Batman as a character. in all of Gotham. And Gotham as a place seemed real, seemed like a relatable place. Except it was raining for the entire 3 hours of the movie, which really sucks, but that is definitely Gotham. I really did not like Catwoman's mask. That shit drove me crazy. Every time I saw it, it actually took me out of the immersion. I just don't like it at all. Really, Bruce Wayne did not exist in this movie. He was in the movie, but when Bruce Wayne was there, it was still kind of Batman. Billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, he's not in this movie. When he is just wearing a suit and tie, it's still kind of Batman in a suit and tie, oddly enough. Like if Selena Kyle just saw Bruce Wayne after her interaction with Batman, she'd be like, you Batman? And the score in this movie also played an extremely important part. And it was, again, very good. There were some really nice shots in this movie. Like the cinematography I thought was fantastic. Even the car chase, something that we've seen over and over again. My buddy was saying that's something we've seen over and over again. Even TV shows do crazy car chases now. And yet this car chase in this movie kind of glued to it. Really, it's just really exciting. Again, like a 3-hour movie that was pretty much exciting throughout the whole thing. Like I definitely enjoyed that. There's only some little things that took me out of the immersion. It's one of the better representations of Batman that I've seen, and a lot of the other characters on the list like I've named. I'm interested to see where they go with this series. So I think that's extremely good as well. I've seen so many reviews like it's like a 6 or it's like a 10. And I'm like, I don't know how you get a 6 or you get a 10. I think I'm going to give this movie like a 93%, I think. 93% I think is pretty good because I'm struggling like 90, maybe 95. I think 93 is perfect. I will say there was a scene in this movie that was, I'm just going to say it because it was so cool. And I even said it in the theater. Oh my God, that was completely cool. That's only illuminated by gunshots. Holy fuck, it's so cool. I put my head down in the theater and went, oh my God, that was so cool. He's like, duh, 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 duh. And there's like, but it's only illuminated by bullets. And he's just moving around real, well, you know, it's awesome. I would recommend this movie highly. So I'd say 93%. I think it's definitely up there with one of the better Batman movies, if not the best, like a contender with The Dark Knight. Is it perfect? No, but holy crap, is it good. Jess, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you. Have a good night or day or afternoon. Whatever. We'll see you.